Hello friends, welcome back to Garden Obsessed. That feels really weird to say right now. I did try to film this once already and it was super awkward. It was like I was starting all over again for the first time. So welcome back. If you're new around here, I've kind of disappeared for several months. But I am back. I've missed you guys. I felt like we needed a chat. So this is just gonna be like an update. Let's catch up, have a friendly conversation type of a video. I'll let you know what I have been up to, what I'm going to be up to, and yeah, I felt like I needed to have a chat with my friends. So, it was kind of a stressful fall. I don't really want to talk about why or what was happening. There was some, family medical issues. Everyone's okay. That was a little stressful. We also have new neighbors building a house on the other side of our side lot, which, it's always stressful when you're listening to the machinery and the house being built. But in addition to that, they cut about 15 or 20 feet into our lot, which of course I wasn't happy about. And, they had some excuses. But they also have 3 large dogs. They've been walking up and down the road without leashes. So I think in the spring, we're going to bite the bullet and invest in a fence. I think fences make good neighbors, and especially like Lola can be kind of a dick. She's a friendly dog, but I don't know that she wouldn't run up to those 3 dogs and entice them to gang up on her. And I don't want to see anything happen to anybody's dog, to her, to their dogs. I don't know why people think it's okay that they can have their dogs off leash, especially like in this rural neighborhood. Almost every house has dogs, like almost every house. There's so many dogs. So I think it's time we get a fence, and it'll solve a few issues. It'll solve the neighbor issue. But it'll solve, it'll keep Lola safe. It'll keep their dogs safe. And also I might get to eat my own beans like the deer. I think we plan definitely on doing the whole backyard. I'm hoping we can do the side yard as well. I don't know if there's money in the budget for that. But at least the backyard, and that will enclose my beans. We're not going to put up a super tall fence or anything. Like the deer will be able to jump over it if they want to, but I'm hoping there's enough other tasty things that they won't want to go through that effort. Definitely the babies won't be able to. So I'm hoping the mamas will stay on the other side of the fence with her babies and leave my beans alone. But time will tell. We will see. It might be, multiple birds with the same stone. So we're going to do that. We finished up the community garden this year. The last 2 things that we took out of the garden were some carrots. They were smaller than I would have liked. There were some good sized carrots there for sure. But most of them I would say were fairly baby carrots. They were planted later, like late July, I think is when I planted them. I think I've finally decided that things planted at the community garden by seed don't necessarily work the best, because I can't stay on top of how many weeds, and the plants are not able to grow ahead of the weeds. The weeds take over too quickly. Like there's aggressive weed pressure there. So not exactly sure what my plan is going to be for that. For beans, I might just start them and transplant them. I think beans direct seeded are a little better, but some beans are better than no beans. And if the deer do decide to jump the fence, I'm not able to grow beans at home very well because they get eaten. So I'm definitely going to try some pole beans at home and hope that new fence will take care of at least some of the deer pressure. But I really like to grow bush beans at the community garden. So I think I'll start them and transplant them. Then they're easy to see. and easy to weed around. I don't have any problems with the transplants. They seem to be able to stay above the weeds, at least until I get to them and take care of, you know, some of the main weed issues. But carrots, we might have to start growing the carrots at home. I'm just, you know, I'm home more often. My eyes are on the garden more here, and it's easier. In the raised beds, there's not as much weed pressure anymore. Over the years, there's been a little bit more than there was when we first built them, but it's nothing like at the community garden. So I don't know, we might change some things up. I have started working on my garden plans for next year. Maybe we'll do a video on that. I love the garden planning process. I think every year is like a new opportunity to start over. You learn a few more things, you tweak a few more things. I think like very much so this year, I thought it was going to be a Staples garden, but even more so I think next year. So I did plant peanuts at the community garden this year. That was the other thing that we pulled out last. And they did okay. They did okay for sure. But I think just not staying, I didn't stay as on top of the weeds. Like my priorities there this year were the tomatoes and the peppers. And the broccoli did amazing there. We're definitely going to grow all of those things there again. But I just don't know about the peanuts and the potatoes. The potatoes were high maintenance because of the potato bugs, but they did really good this year. So I think I might cut the peanuts at least for next year and, you know, have more space for more broccoli, at least as many peppers. I don't know if I'll grow quite as many tomatoes there this year. There's still probably 20 pounds down in the freezer that I haven't processed yet. Those are going to turn into sauce at some point. And yeah, I haven't shown you guys, you know, the state of the pantry in a while either. There's still some things I need to make, and I need to make them soon because some of them are going to be gifts for and Christmas baskets and things. But what else do I have to tell you guys? I made some soap about a week ago. I used to make it like, you know, like a handful of times, probably, well, it was before Lola. So it was at least 5 years ago. It was probably 6 or 7 years ago when I first started making it. And I'm going to give that as some gifts. And they're just basic bars. They're, I got some Brazilian purple clay on Amazon before I learned you shouldn't buy it on Amazon. They basically cut it with like white clays and like there's no color to it. But now it's a luxurious bar with clay in it. I scented it with lavender. I was hoping for, you know, kind of a purple bar that smelled like lavender. But I think it's going to be a really nice bar. It's still curing. It'll need to cure for another 3 to 5 weeks probably, just right in time to chuck in people's Christmas baskets. And I've done that before, like, you know, 6 or 7 years ago. I always try, that was right around when I started, especially for like the families that I give to and stuff. I like to make like a homemade basket and put things in it that I've made. I've made candles, I've made soap, I've made bath teas. What else have I made over the years? There's always baking in it. There will be some baking in it for sure. You know, dishcloths, things that I've crocheted. I'm crocheting bags this year, but I only have like 2 made, so I don't know how many people are going to get those this year. I need to like sit down and focus. Each one takes me pretty much like a whole weekend to make. So I don't know. There's not that many weekends left before Christmas, and we have lots of stuff to do. I haven't started decorating. I've barely started purchasing things. So yeah, I'm looking for ideas for teenagers. We've got 2 teenagers now. The other one just turned 13 a week ago. So we're definitely into the girly stuff, which is fun. And the other one is gonna be 16 this spring. So watch out, people on the roads in Nova Scotia. So that's fun. But I'm looking for suggestions. I'm finding them harder and harder you know, they have, you know, particularities now that are harder to shop for, if you know what I mean. Like, you know, you can't just get track pants. They have to be like certain materials and have zippers for pockets and like, you know what they're like. You guys know. But it's fun. So I'm looking forward to Christmas. Let me see. What else has been going on? Oh, yes. So I have one of my Aerogardens sitting next to me. That reminded me. So Aerogarden is one of the OG hydroponic home like units, right? Like that made it easier. I think I got my first one. I think it was like 2009 or 2010. It was like the 3-pod OG with like a fluorescent bulb. I still have it. It still works. I've added a few systems over the years, and they announced maybe about a month ago that they're going out of business. So of course I had to get one more. If you're in the US, there's amazing deals on some of the units on Amazon. I think Aerogarden themselves are sold out now, but there's amazing Black Friday deals. In Canada, we don't usually get those nearly as good, so I'm not getting any more. Yeah, so if you're into Aerogardens, stock up now. There are lots of other units, like, you know, hydroponics are going to continue and whatever, but it is sad because they were the OG and they were the first one that I ever got. And it was kind of my introduction to gardening, I would say. Like, I've always liked gardening, and my parents always had a vegetable garden, and my mom always had flower beds, but that was like my first, oh, this is what I want to grow, and I'm going to grow something. So, yeah, but I'm on a group on Facebook, and they're having a challenge. So every year they pick like a few different things that they're going to all start at the same time. So I think the date that we had to start was November 17th. So one of the things they're doing is contender bush beans. So I'm going to do that mostly because I only had a few seeds, and this way I'll be able to like increase by a few seeds before the summer if I want to grow them. So those are the only official thing I'm participating in. I think the other things they were growing were potapino, jalapenos. What were the other things? The large leaf basil or the lettuce leaf basil, which I didn't have seeds for most of these things. That's why, and I'm going to do one seed order and one only, I think, for a few things that I really want, or for our seed sale. And then that's it. Like, I'm really trying to work through like the seeds that I already have. So I'm not buying things for this, but I did have some contender bean seeds, so I did grow those. I think shishitos they're also doing, which I could have started, but I don't know. The jalapenos I would have liked to do, but I didn't have any potapino jalapeno seeds, so they're not official entrants. I can still start some jalapenos. I don't know. I'm gonna get a couple of Aerogardens going soon. Maybe that'll be one of the next videos, because I do have to get my beans. They're getting long roots started in a little container that Lola actually got and demolished. So a couple of them have some battle scars. I don't know that they're all gonna grow, but we're gonna plant the ones that look viable and hope for the best. So maybe that'll be like the next video or something. Let's see, what else do I have to tell you guys? We're having like an amazing fall. We had one really hard frost. We've had a couple of light frosts. We had one really hard frost towards the end of October, and I knew it was going to be hard enough that I didn't want to bother trying to cover dahlias and protect them to go longer. Like, once you start that covering, uncovering, covering, uncovering dance, like, it seems to go on forever. Although, had I known how warm it was going to be in November, maybe I would have. But I am glad, you know, I let the frost take them, and we got them all dug up. They're all put away for the winter. I got to do that in nice weather, so that was nice. Usually it's kind of like a cold, wet job. but they're all put away. It feels nice to have that done. I've got some garlic planted. We still have some stuff growing in the garden. Like, I've done nothing to protect any of it. I did a really late planting of broccoli. I didn't think they were going to actually, you know, come to fruition, but there's teeny tiny little broccoli heads out there. If I had started them, you know, like a month earlier, I think it was like August maybe even when I started them. So I'm definitely going to try that again next year. Because, you know, there's the opportunity that I have narrowed in on a variety I really like. I really like Gypsy. It's a hybrid variety, but it's like so dependable and consistent compared to some of the open pollinated broccolis I've tried to grow in the past. I thought I was a bad gardener. I think variety matters. I think it matters a lot. And it produces a ton of side shoots. So the original plants that we had at the community garden we were still picking off side shoots when we pulled them out at the end of October. I wouldn't have pulled them except we had to be out by the end of October so that the first week of November, they're doing like a turn under before winter. So, you know, it was a bummer. They would have kept going, man. So that's a winning variety in my book. So there's still broccoli out there. There is a ton of self-seeded kale. I didn't plant any kale, I don't think, this spring. I won't need to next year either. Like they just come up everywhere now in the garden. What else is out there? There's still Swiss chard. There are still some rutabagas. There's still like some herbs and green onions and things like that. But I think next week our weather is going to take a turn and probably most of those things will bite the dust then. A lot of the the kale will overwinter. It won't be like edible and actively growing. Like the leaves will get burned, frost burnt and die back. But the roots will survive, and in the spring they'll start growing, and we'll be able to get like they almost make little florets. Like they'll start going to seed. They're kind of like a biennial, right? And so they'll start going to seed almost immediately, and we'll be able to eat those kind of just like broccoli, the little kalettes. And I can let some of them go to seed and ensure that we have broccoli next year too. So mostly I just have out there, it's all either Premier or Red Russian, I think. Speaking of Red Russian, I did get my garlic planted this year. I think we're at 220, and some of those are in a pot. I've never tried growing them in a pot before, but I had more seed garlic, like it's all seed garlic that I've saved. And I did get 2 new varieties this year at a farmer's market. I got Dugansky and Murano, I think. I just got 1 head of each. So those are out there. We'll see how they do, and we'll probably plant more of that next year. I also have Red Russian, German White, and the probably half of what I'm growing, or at least a third, is music garlic. That was the one that I started growing probably 6 or 7 years ago, at least now, 7 or 8, something like that. And it just gets better and better every year. So for the first time, I'm trying to grow some in pots. So I've got a pot planted. I'm just going to leave it on the south side of our house where the dahlias grow. Stays pretty warm. It like snow will fall there, and it's always the first strip to melt. So I think that will help, because when you're planting things in pots, essentially you're making it a colder growing zone because it's more exposed. It's going to freeze quicker. It's also going to thaw quicker, and the freeze thaw isn't the best for bulbs and things, but I'm hoping, you know, against that south side, it'll stay a little more consistent. So we're going to see. We'll just see how it goes. And I'll definitely update you guys on that. What else? I was trying to remember what else I had to tell you guys. We're getting a little long, but I did just get Lola's Christmas pictures back the other day where she used to go to daycare. They do this every year with a photographer. I think they've been doing it for about 10 years. We've only had Lola for 5 Christmases, so this was her 5th Christmas picture. I'll throw those up now. She's so adorable. And I don't know why, like, you know, the owner is familiar to her. Like, she goes to daycare there, but she always gets nervous on picture day. I don't know why. So it's always a little bit of a stressful event, but you know, the photographer and Carrie are wonderful, and they, you know, they always get the shot, you know what I mean? So I'm thankful and grateful for that. I had an eye appointment last week, and I don't know, like, has anyone else found this to be the worst, like, allergy season in history or what? Like, I usually have like a couple weeks in the spring and maybe a couple more in the fall where, you know, I'm sniffly and stuff like that. But like, I think my eyes started itching in May this year, and they haven't stopped yet. So I was complaining about itchy eyes at the eye doctor, and she's like, you know, there's basically 2 reasons for itchy eyes: allergies and dry eyes. And I was like, well, I don't think I have dry eyes. And she's like, well, just answer this question. When you itch, does it get worse, or does it satisfy the itch? And I was like, it gets worse. I have to keep scratching. And she's like, definitely allergies. And she's like, I'm not surprised. I've had so many people complain about itchy eyes this year. And I was like, okay, well, at least I'm, you know, on trend here. But the other thing I noticed, I didn't have to actually change my prescription, so I have the same glasses. But in a couple years, I think we're going to have to talk, because I'm starting to like do this, right? It's just starting. And it's just in low light situations right now. And, you know, she did tell me I did better than average, and I made it a few more years longer than most people. So good job to me. But we're starting to enter that territory. So, you know, time is marching on. But yeah, I don't think I really have anything else. I could probably talk all day, but, I think this video is probably long enough. I've updated everybody on all the major things. I'm going to try to get back into this habit again, because I do really miss you guys, and I do really like, you know, the process of making videos and stuff. You know, it was a little weird in the backyard this year with, you know, what was going on next door, and, you know, the noise. And also I feel like I've lost some privacy too, you know, but I'm hoping a fence will kind of give that back to me and give me some confidence to start filming in the backyard again. I feel really weird about it sometimes, right? Like, I don't like being watched or overheard. So, hopefully a fence will take care of that. We'll see. But yeah, I still haven't showed you guys all the dahlias from the summer, and they're like dug up and put in the basement for like a month already. But I have lots of pictures, so I'm definitely going to do like the year-end review kind of that I always do at the very least. Talking about the dahlias. I think I lost a couple, as I always do. When you only grow 1 or 2 of everything, it's inevitable that a couple are gonna bite the dust, but not too sad about any of them, I don't think. I don't have any major plans to buy anymore. I have, you know, I'm trying to maximize what I've got and cut back on varieties. I want as many dahlias, but I find, like, you know, when I only have 1 or 2 of like 50 or 60 varieties, I don't have an abundance of any one color or type to make a, like, you know, a bouquet with. And I'd like more of a few of the ones that I really like, and maybe fewer of some of the ones that I'm just like not in love with. But there's certain ones, you know, you're drawn to for bouquets and stuff like that. So I don't know. I haven't figured out. We haven't done that planning yet. But we'll figure it out. I know there will be a couple that I'll buy. I always do. I can't help myself. But we'll see. I'll definitely bring you guys along for the ride. So I thank you for sticking with this very long, unorganized video, if you have made it this far. I hope you consider coming back. I would love to see you back. Leave me a comment. What are you guys up to? I want to hear about your allergies. I want to hear about your gardening plans for next year. I want to hear about your gift ideas, like all of the things. I want to hear all of the things. So I have missed you. I thank you, and we will see you next time.